Hey guys, it's Kristen. So in today's video, I'm going to show you 5 different ways that you can make pom-poms using various things in your house. So what I'm going to do is in the video description, I'm going to list exactly where in the video each of those 5 things are. So if you want to jump ahead to see a particular one, you can do that. Here's a quick snapshot though of all of the ones that we're going to be making today. And then at the start of each process, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to make them. So I'm going to jump right into the first one and show you how to make the large pom-pom. Okay, so for this first pom-pom, you just need yarn and scissors. So the first thing I'm gonna do is cut about 1 foot of yarn and then set that aside. And all we're gonna do is use our hands. So I'm gonna stretch some of this out. Now with your hand, I'm gonna do all 4 fingers. If you were to do just like 2 fingers, the pom-pom would be much smaller. So you're just gonna keep wrapping this around a ton of times. I don't really count. You just wanna keep going until there's a lot and it looks fluffy. The other thing you want to do is keep it in the same spot. If I start going like over here, you can kind of see like that's going to be smaller than it is over here. So try to keep it in the same spot. The other thing I want to mention is it's starting to get snug, but try to make sure you don't do it too tight because you do have to get this off of your fingers. So that's probably good. So I'm going to cut this. So now what we're going to do is just carefully just keep this pinched and slide it off your fingers and try to keep it in the same shape. And now we're going to take our piece of yarn that we had from before and we're going to tie a knot. And you want to go in the opposite direction of your yarn and pull really, really snug. So snug, but don't pull so much that you break your yarn. There we go. So go ahead and just leave this tail because if you're attaching it to something, you're going to need a tail on it. And now all we have to do is cut these loops. Go, and you're gonna have to check it because some of these, like this one, didn't get cut. And this one, so I just kind of use my scissors to check and see where I still have to cut, or you can use your fingers. But all you're gonna do, make sure you don't cut these two, but you're just gonna kind of, it's almost like giving it a haircut. So we're just gonna cut these longer pieces like this until they pretty much all match up. Alright, and then once you've got it cut, you've got your pom-pom. And now you can make it look more fuzzy if you kind of brush out the pieces, because you can see like some of them are twisted and still in that shape. But the more you play with it and if you untwist it, it'll start looking more fuzzy. So it just depends on what look you're going for. This is another way to make a large pom-pom. So again, yarn, scissors, and then you'll need 2 toilet paper rolls. So again, I'm gonna cut about 1 foot of yarn, set that aside. Now I'm gonna take my 2 toilet paper rolls and you're just gonna start wrapping it around. Now this one will be about the same size as one we did on our finger, maybe a little bit larger. So again, try to keep it in the same spot, although with this one it doesn't matter as much. It's just gonna make it a lot easier for you to get the pom-pom off if you keep it all together. So then once you get to the size you want, just cut the end off. Now this one's a little bit easier to tie off because we do have a gap in between. So you're gonna stand your toilet paper rolls standing up and just put the piece of yarn about halfway and just kind of push it down. Then you're gonna flip this over to the other side and we're gonna tie a knot. And we're gonna pull that really, really snug. Again, as tight as you can go without breaking the yarn. And knot it again. And now we're just gonna slide this off. And there we go. Perfect. So now this could be a little bit loose, so you can tie it again. But what you can do, since you already tied it here, is go back the other way. So now I'm gonna knot it this way, and that way you can make it tighter. Okay, so again, leave this piece so you have something to attach it to. And now we'll do the same process where we're just gonna cut all of this. And I'm gonna cut this side. So you can kind of see, like with your fingers, you can make it whatever size you want. With the toilet paper roll, unless you just do one, you can see how much larger this is. So this is like a really, really big pom-pom. And you can see the difference where this looks like a ball and this doesn't. So if you want a really like fluffy pom-pom, you can just leave it like this. Or you can trim it so it's more circular. But we're just gonna make sure we get all these pieces. And then you'll give it its haircut again and just kind of trim it how you want it. So I'm just gonna hold it to the side and just start trimming anything that looks like it's sticking out so that we make a circle. So here's this pom-pom. I'm gonna leave this one fuzzy, but I just ran into something that I wanna tell you guys about. So I got really excited cutting all of this off that I accidentally cut the piece that's supposed to be the tie off. It's not a big deal because all you do is get another piece of your white yarn and you just pretty much tie it again. So I'm just gonna make a knot, and you might have to just move some of this around, but you just pretty much tie it right in the middle again. So just move some of these. There we go. See, when I tie it, you can't even see it. So you can make a double knot and then you'll be good to go again. There we go. All right, for this next one, again, we need yarn, scissors, and this time a fork. So this is one of the more popular ones you'll see on like Pinterest or Instagram, things like that. So the first thing I'm gonna do is cut about 1 foot off, and then we're gonna take this and you're gonna just put it right through the center fork. And I'm just gonna kind of hold this on the handle while I'm wrapping my other yarn. I'm just kind of like pinching it and pulling it straight down and then holding it in my hand like that. You want it to be right pretty much at the base of where the teeth, where the holes are. So I'm just gonna wrap it like this to get it going. And like again, I don't really count how many times I go around, but just enough where there's a good amount of yarn on here. All right, so this is probably good. So I'm going to cut this. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to take one side over here and I'm going to go through the teeth again onto the back. Okay. So then you're going to take this and we're going to tie this again as tight as you can without breaking the yarn. So really tight. There we go. Okay, and then you're just going to slide this off. Now we're just going to start cutting these loops. There we go. Make sure you have a sharp pair of scissors because apparently mine are getting dull. Then once you get all the loops cut, then you'll start trimming it again just to make sure it's nice and even. Then once you get it all cut, you'll have this tiny little pom-pom. Alright, so for this one we need yarn, scissors, and a clothespin. Same as usual, we're going to cut off about 1 foot, but this time we're going to use it right away. We're just going to pretty much lie this right in the middle. So the pieces that are hanging down, I'm just gonna wrap and hold in my hand so it doesn't get mixed in with the rest. And then we're gonna take this, I'm just gonna put my thumb on, and we're just gonna wrap it around. So we're just gonna cut that. Now the yarn that's in my hand, we're just gonna loop this over like that. Just lie it on the ground. So once you get it tied, you can kind of go like that and just go right in between. So I'm just pinching really, really tight, and then I'm going to do a second loop. Okay, really, really tight. And now you're just going to slide it right off the end. There we go. And then you just repeat the same thing we've been doing. So we're just going to cut these loops. There's one. These scissors, you might need smaller scissors too for these smaller pom-poms. Okay. This one, I must have pulled this one through by accident. So once they get all cut, just go ahead and trim it again. All right, and there we have our really small little pom-pom. Got one little fuzz here. For this last one, you'll need your yarn and scissors, and then you'll also need some cardboard. This is just the back of a cereal box, and then either like a bowl or a cup, something like that that you can trace. So I'm gonna take my cereal box and I'm just gonna put this cup down and trace a line going around it. I'm gonna do one more right on this side. If you're pretty good at eyeballing circles, you don't need to do this part, but now we're gonna cut this out. So now you're gonna take your 2 circles, and what we're gonna do is they're on top of each other, and we're gonna cut like a little square out right here. You can go at an angle or you can just cut it. So I'm just gonna go kind of at an angle. And then what we're gonna do is make a circle in the middle. Like this. Until we get to the other side. There we go. So you want it to really be like this. So now cut one piece that's about 1.5 feet, set that aside. And we're gonna take these with them together. And I'm just gonna hold this with my thumb and just start wrapping it around. It doesn't really matter but which way you go or if they're overlapped like this. The more yarn, the bigger the pom-pom will be. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cover this whole thing. All right, so then once you get that, we're gonna cut it. Just cutting the end of the yarn off. So now once we've got it wrapped, I'm just gonna hold the side here and we're gonna take our scissors and we're gonna cut along this ridge. There we go. We're gonna take our yarn, just kind of pinch it and put this in between the two pieces of cardboard. Okay. There you go. And then we're gonna tie this. So this one's a lot more tricky because you have to make sure you don't like lose your yarn. Pull really, really tight. So then these can come off. Okay. We're just gonna pull really snug. So this is definitely the more difficult one that I find, because if you haven't made pom-poms before, you could definitely lose all of your yarn very easily. So with experience though, that one is kind of fun to do. But now we're just gonna do the same thing we normally do. These are already cut, we don't have to cut it, but we do have to trim it because they're all like different sizes. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim that. And then once you get it all cut, you'll have this tiny little pom-pom. Alright guys, so that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to leave me comments below. You can ask any questions, or if you have any other video suggestions, I would love to hear those. If you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and then hit this bell so you're alerted when I upload a new video. And I'll talk to you later.